Greetings from Tokyo. My name is Daisuke Beppu. How are you doing today? I hope you are really doing well. I wanted to take this opportunity, if I could, to address one thing that was brought to my attention by a really great comment that was left behind on one of my Criterion Collection videos. And this is really interesting because I just wanted to use the comment and my response to the comment to hopefully explain a little bit more about how I try to watch cinema and films and movies. Okay, so I received a comment a few days ago under one of my videos, and the comment was really, I think, well stated, and it was sincere, and it was quite from the heart, I think. And it was asking me, in essence, why are my videos of films always glowing reviews? Aren't there any films that I don't like? And I think this is a very good comment because it suggests that all the videos that I've made thus far, especially those of the Criterion Collection, are usually not, how should I put it, I don't usually speak negatively about the films that I have discussed so far. I think that's a perfectly legitimate comment to make, but I think I wanted to take the opportunity to maybe just talk a little bit about my response to that, but also more broadly, how I like to try to watch film. Okay, so very briefly, I would say that just in response to the comment specifically, so it was talking, I think, in quotes, glowing reviews that I give. And I wouldn't agree with that assessment. And with all due respect, of course, to the commenter, but I don't agree that it's glowing reviews that I give. I always try to engage with a film as best as I can. I have a very limited background. I'm not a film critic. I'm not a historian. I don't have the wherewithal usually to do much research on many of the films that I see. So I try to get as much information as I can from the release, from the supplement materials, from online sources, from other books that I read that I can get from a library or bookstore, and other things like that. So therefore I am not an expert in film. On the contrary, I'm quite the amateur of a very kind of base level. But that being said, I will always try to engage with a film that I see as much as I can. I wasn't always like this. In fact, when I was younger and in college, I had a very, I think, narrow-minded view of film, and so much so that I think some of the films that I saw when I was younger, I didn't like very much. I brought up this example before, but for example, 8½, Fellini's Otto e Mezzo, I saw when I was a college student, and I didn't like, or no, earlier actually, when I was a teenager, and I was much too young, I think, to really appreciate that film. And in fact, yes, I didn't like that film at all when I first saw it. I found it to be very boring and meandering, and the characters were not at all sympathetic from my point of view. And then fast forward many years later, after I met my wife, and and we married, and I settled down here in Tokyo, and I decided to watch the film again, 8½, and I had a little bit more life experience under my belt, shall we say, And I saw the film again, and I was blown away. I was utterly amazed, and I realized that my initial assessment of the film when I first saw it was perhaps not I didn't agree. Let me put it that way. I didn't agree with how I felt about the film when I first saw it all those years ago. And I think that showed me a really important thing. It taught me a very important lesson, I would say, which is that even if I see a film, or if I've seen a film that I didn't like, chances are, if I go back to it and if I try to re-examine it, maybe I'll wait a couple years. Maybe I'll try to be in a better frame of mind, try to be a bit more open-minded when I see something. But if I revisit it, or if I am encouraged to reevaluate a film, then it's quite possible that I might engage with it more positively. And so that has been essentially my approach since I entered my 30s and I got married and I'm starting to watch these films again. Namely, that I want to engage with a film as much as possible. That's where I'm coming from. And I want to engage with the merits, the substance of the film itself. And I think on that basis, I'll more often than not find and locate and identify some or many aspects of a given film that I will, in one way or another, engage with. It could be on a very superficial level, of course, in my engagement, but all the same, the engagement exists. And so, if I have a certain level of engagement with the film, that gives me stuff to talk about and to comment on. And therefore, that gives me the substance of a particular video that I make, and I'm very privileged to be allowed to put on this YouTube channel. So I think that perhaps helps me to explain a little bit anyway as to why my videos tend to be not so negative. I will do my best to try to be as open-minded as possible with a given film. It's not always easy, but that's one thing that I always do. If I watch a film and I don't like it, I will try to watch it again, maybe in the coming days or weeks, because it is very likely that my not liking a film is probably saying something more about me than about the film itself. So I will try to give the film as much benefit of the doubt as I can. And I think for me anyway, I think that's a really good way to approach cinema from my point of view, because as I say, my experience in life and in studies and professionally is still quite limited. So the reason why, or one of the reasons why I love film so much, is that it is a gateway for me to be exposed to different perspectives and different kinds of stories. And so some I might engage more with than others, but still, there is still a lot of potential for those stories or those perspectives that perhaps are quite foreign to me, and perhaps I won't even agree with. And this is true also for films that perhaps might offend me, or films that I think have very shocking or controversial subject matter. I think there's much there to be engaged with, and so therefore there is much to discuss. I should say also that my phrasing of engaging with a film is not akin to liking a film or endorsing a film. I think engaging with a film, that's the key for me. I can engage with a film that I like. I think I can engage with a film whose politics I disagree with. I can engage with a film that has very intense subject matter. I think I can engage with a film also that maybe is even personally offensive to me. And I'll try to get as much out of it as I can, while still recognizing the sort of the problematic aspects of the film. So this is my very bloated way to respond to this comment, but just to reiterate, I will try to be as open-minded as I can in order to allow me the possibility of trying to engage with a film within a reasonable scope, and also to the extent that I am able to. So that probably explains why my videos tend to seem to be kind of positive. I don't like to think of it necessarily as being positive or necessarily as being glowing reviews, but I prefer to think of them as me trying to engage with the work and just talking to you about the results of my engagement, so to speak. So yes, so I guess I'm going to be talking about films that I don't like in the Criterion Collection. I'll try to be upfront with that as I can. But I will also be talking about films in the Criterion Collection that I think generally are very controversial for one reason or another. And I think on some avenues anyway, I think there is room for this kind of engagement with even those types of films. So, I'm going to be talking, for example, about Salo. I will be talking about Armageddon. I will be talking about other films that I don't quite like for one reason or another. But I will try to give even those films as much benefit of the doubt as I can. And I think that's only fair, because I am just a guy, and I shouldn't try to proclaim or claim that I know absolutely everything about every single film ever, because I don't. I don't know anything. I don't know 1/100th of 1% of all that there is to know. So my journey is just beginning. So I have much to learn, and from that vantage point, I will try to be as respectful of a work as I can. So I hope that answers the question as to why I think my videos might seem to be, up to now anyway, maybe on the more positive side of things. And also, I just think, generally speaking, I think it's I don't know, I think it's more fun to be generally positive about a film than negative about a film. I mean, it's just my own point of view. I perfectly understand if there are people who make reviews about films that they don't like and they have a negative take on a film. I'm perfectly fine to read those or to watch those video reviews and to listen to the arguments and the commentary and try to engage with those reviews. That's perfectly fine, and I love to hear those. But for me personally, and this is just speaking for me only, I find it to be much more of a rewarding experience to watch a film and try to engage with it than watch a film and just be completely negative about it and have absolutely nothing good to say about it. And also, I think also that as just a general approach to YouTube and this channel, I tend to buy films that more often than not I will generally like. And of all the films that I have, I just started this YouTube channel in earnest just a few months ago. And so I haven't had a chance to talk about all of the films that I have. So I think it's it was my natural inclination, perhaps, to be to want to talk about the films that I like. And so the early videos that I made, or starting from the earlier videos that I made, I think I talked more or less about films that I was really into. And I became more comfortable with YouTube, and I started to make some more videos, and so therefore I decided now to instead of choosing films that I would talk about, because by virtue of the fact that I chose a film to talk about, I made the effort, I was active in that choice, that in itself inherently means that I like the film. And so that's why I wanted to go to the spine number order discussion, because along the way I would be forced to talk about films that I don't necessarily like. And so I think that's a really good exercise for me, and hopefully that will give me the opportunity, as I said earlier, to reevaluate the film and to try to engage with that film once again. Okay, so that is just my general response to this really great question. I really wanted to thank you very much. It's a really important comment and question to make, and I really mean that, because it's not. I don't think it's a good thing to be just, oh, it's great, that's it, or this is also great, that's it. I think it's very important to try to give reasons as to why I like something or I don't like something. And I'm trying to be as detailed as possible, whilst at the same time trying to respect those who might not have seen the film. So I don't want to give away some big spoiler detail. So I'm trying to do that, and I think I'm trying to develop my skills in that department, and trying to be better at that kind of explanation. And I don't know if I do very well, so I'll try to improve my skills in that department. But I do think it's very important to not be overly generally positive, but rather I want to present as much reason and backup and kind of evidence for my comments as I can, and whether they be praise or whether they be not so much praise. So so I will try to continue that and to develop my skills better, and to be more efficient in my means of making comments. So it's a very important question. So thank you very much for this giving me the opportunity to explain this. I hope it wasn't too boring for you. Okay, so let me just end it right there. And if you want to talk with me further, or if you want to have any questions or comments for me, please feel free to leave a comment or question below. I will do my best to engage with you and to answer your question to the extent I am able. In the meantime, my friends, my dear friends, I hope you are doing very well indeed. I am looking forward to watching some of your YouTube videos. I know it's October, so it's a very exciting month for many of us. I think a lot of us are watching some scary movies, some really good scary movies, and I am doing that too. I am watching a bunch of Italian horror films, and also I am re-watching, speaking of reevaluating films that I don't like, I am trying to reevaluate my stances on the late films of Dario Argento. So, I'm rewatching films like, Do You Like Hitchcock? Or Mother of Tears, Dracula and Phantom of the Opera. So I'm trying to see if I can find some positive things in these films. When I first saw them, I didn't like any of them, but I guess just as a little maybe example of what I'm talking about. So I saw this film, which is Dracula, and I first saw this, I heard many bad things about it, and I first saw this film actually on this Blu-ray when I bought it. And I hadn't seen it before because I thought it was it had such very bad reviews. And I did see it, and I think it's not a good film at all in terms of its quality. But I do appreciate the fact now, by watching this film, that it is not a scary film. It is not a disturbing film, but it is a funny film. It is a very funny film. I think in many respects, it's funny when it doesn't necessarily mean to be, but it's still quite funny. And there are some scenes and sequences in here that just are staggeringly funny. Well, I won't say. And there's some lines of dialogue here that are just, I can't even believe that they passed the cut, if you know what I mean. It's kind of so bad, it's good kind of thing. But I don't think that should be taken in any way to be a negative aspect of the film. Because a film, one of the great things about films is that they are sometimes just there to entertain. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so therefore, I think as an entertainment film, if you're going to look at it in terms of a campy horror comedy, this is pretty good, I should say. Don't expect it to be like Deep Red or Suspiria, no. But if you're looking for a campy, just horror film where you can just turn off your brain and kind of laugh and just try to have fun and maybe watch it with your friends, maybe have a couple drinks perhaps, this can be a great time. And this is just an example. That is an example of what I'm trying to do, is I'm just trying to be more trying to give films more benefit of the doubt. And I'm learning all the time. I'm not perfect. I think, make a lot of mistakes, and I think I have a tendency, a strong tendency, I think, to be a bit of a snob when it comes to cinema, and I'm trying to remedy that. I'm trying to fix that as much as I can. Hopefully, this is an example, or this is a small step in the right direction as far as my own film viewing habits are concerned. But who knows? This is something that I have to keep working on. So with your patience and guidance, perhaps, we might, you and I, take this journey together. Anyway, okay, so let me just end right there. And I hope you are all doing well. And please keep watching a lot of great films. Until we meet again, my friends, please be happy, be healthy, and be well. Take care.